slight change to my usual format today. Yes, I'm going camping. Yes, I'm out in the wild. And yes, I'm taking photographs. The main focus of today's video is what I'm doing here. Why am I on YouTube? I've been doing this for a little bit more than a year, seriously, as in on a regular basis. And I figured that it was about time I discussed a little bit more about myself, about my history, about my motivations, and what I get out of it. So if that sounds in any way interesting, stay tuned. Welcome to the far north again. The peak above me, which is very, very pretty, is Ben Loyal. It's not a particularly high mountain, but it's very, very shapely. And there's a very impressive buttress up there on the north face of the mountain. I've come up here because at this time of year, we are pretty much at peak pretty colors, because it's coming towards the time in a few days when the last of the leaves are going to fall from the trees. And there's a whole row on the northwest side of the mountain of beautiful birch trees. Well, it's more than a row, it's a whole forest really, on the slope leading up some way towards the top. And I try to get out at least once in the autumn season, because it doesn't last long. It only lasts for 2 or 3 weeks, to get some photographs of the colors at their best, which involves trying to find some native forest with some leaves still on them. And a lot of them have already fallen, so I might actually be a couple of days beyond peak color, but it's still very pretty. So I'm quickly getting the tent up, and then I'm gonna wander off for a while and take some photographs. The sun is very low down and the clouds are playing with me a bit. They're coming in and out somewhat unpredictably. And the window with the angle of the sun at this time of year in the middle of October is quite short. So I'll talk to you about the main subject after I've been out taking pictures for a while, when the light is gone. Well, I didn't get much time in the end with the light. The clouds came in pretty quickly, and actually they're all over the place now, although they're due to be coming and going all night and tomorrow morning. So I have called it a day. So now that I'm sitting down comfortably, let's get to the point. I've been on YouTube seriously now for about a year and a bit. I did upload a couple of videos about a year and a half ago, but then I had a big gap, so I don't really count that as the proper start, because one thing about YouTube is that you've got to post consistently if you want to get views. But it was about this time last year that people started noticing and I started getting views and subscribers. I passed the 100 subscriber mark, which is very modest by YouTube standards, but at the time I was pretty pleased. Firstly, I would like to give a big thanks to everybody who has been watching and subscribing and commenting and giving me lovely feedback so far in the last year. It's been great and it's been encouraging. And also, welcome to anybody who's new to my videos, watching this one for the first time. So what brought me to YouTube in the first place? Well, to be perfectly honest, it started about 25 years ago, actually almost exactly 25 years ago in 1999. I had been playing with video cameras and making a lot of home videos for a good 10 years almost before that. But in 1999, I first seriously made an attempt at making a travel video. I was on an interrail trip with a friend through Europe, which I shot tons of footage on this old brick video camera, which took VHS-C tapes that were about this size. Each tape was bigger than a GoPro. And I came back with all this footage and I cut it together piece by piece, very, very primitively, because all I had access to was a couple of video recorders and I was taping from one to the other, and then I would plug audio cables in to take away half of the sound, so you would have mono sound instead of stereo sound, and then the other track would be playing in the music in order to input some music over it. But I was only really doing it for myself. There was no other way to really get this stuff out there. YouTube was still several years away, and any video content online was several years away. And then in 2005, my new girlfriend and I set off for a whole year traveling around the world, going to about 12 different destinations on the plane ticket. And I filmed hundreds of hours of footage on a camera with better specs, thinking that I would somehow be able to sell it when I got back and get it televised. And when we got back, I sent off DVDs with sample footage and a little trailer and stuff to various production companies. And it looked like it was going really well with a couple of contacts for a while, until the bottom fell out of it. And that was the end of that. Didn't hear from them again. But also when we got back at the end of 2005 and into 2006, that was when broadband was suddenly becoming commonplace and video content online appeared. YouTube had just started, but I didn't see the potential of it at the time. I was very much thinking about the more traditional model of going through the gatekeepers of the production companies, or even directly to TV stations, because at the beginning, YouTube, at that point, it wasn't clear how anybody was going to make any money. And I was in my late 20s, and it was a point in time where I was thinking, I've really got to start getting my act together. I haven't really had a job, a proper job up until now. I've got to think about a career. So I let it go, and then I drifted away from video because I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere with it. It's getting a bit dark now, and I'm getting a bit hungry. So I am going to start settling down for the night, and I will continue the story in the morning. Just blowing a hoolie out there this morning. So, anyway, after that disappointment, I went off to do other things for a while. I'd done a degree in photography between 2000 and 2004, and I concentrated on my photography then for a while before going into science, back to university, which eventually led to a PhD. So that kept me
busy between 2011 and 2022 actually. All through that time, I never lost my passion for photography and film and getting out and creating. I suppose I always had this starving artist mentality that I just had to create this stuff, this visual finished object, to package it all up into something presentable that I could show to other people, that other people might appreciate. And nothing else I've done that could potentially make any kind of income has come even close to being as satisfying as that. During those years, I was living in the south of England, so I didn't have wilderness on my doorstep. But every year I'd head off somewhere exotic and concentrate on photography or on making a proper video, which I put a lot of effort into and never really did anything major with, but I did put them up online, but not on YouTube. But through this, I was honing my skills within the genre of outdoor filmmaking and developing a style of my own. So a couple of years ago, I realized I had to try again. I had to try and make this work as a way of making a living. I was sick of clock watching in some jobs and burning out or even breaking down in others, all the while not satisfying my needs to get outside, to find flow, and the knock-on effects that was having on my loved ones, because my mental health was not in a good way. YouTube has changed a huge amount since it started, and it offered a way to express my love of creating to a wide audience. The big advantage of living in the age of self-marketing is that I don't have to go through the traditional gatekeepers that I was so frustrated with that process before. But then the disadvantage is that you have to get past the algorithmic selection process in order to get seen. And there's a certain large element of luck in actually being picked up by that and growing massively in popularity. And some people manage to do that and others don't. Then, of course, there's the fact that I have no control over how the platform operates. And that's quite a vulnerable position to be in the long term. If I pour all my eggs into that basket and something significantly changes about the platform, or the platform disappears altogether, then that's the end of it. But I love making videos. I love coming out and doing this stuff and filming it. And as well as being a creative outlet for that particular part of my expression, it also offers a platform for me to showcase my photography, which is my other creative passion and one that I've had for almost as long as I can remember. So in parallel with making the videos, I'm promoting my photography in other ways on other platforms, getting things published more than I used to, and preparing prints to sell off my website, as well as cards, greeting cards and postcards. So if you're interested in getting any of that stuff, have a look at my website. That shop section will be up fairly soon. I intend to do a print run of calendars next year as well, and that'll be quite a small run to start with, but I hope it's going to get bigger and bigger year on year as the demand increases. And in a couple of years, I want to start publishing photo books. I'm also becoming increasingly keen on writing. So writing about the experience that I am having and have had in the past in the wilderness and in the outdoors. So there's a couple of magazine articles in the pipeline, and I've already started working on my first written book, which is likely to take a couple of years to write. But it's going to be a memoir about some of the adventures that I've got into in the wilderness and some of the close calls and near-death experiences that I've had over the years, learning the hard way of how to survive in the outdoors and how to do things correctly. I also want to start doing guided trips and photography workshops, possibly as early as next year. Initially, those are going to be up here in the Northwest Highlands of Scotland, but in the longer term, I'd like to get trips together which take people overseas. But that's going to be a while in the pipeline, but I'll keep you posted on that as things develop. I'd like to be really clear about one thing though. Although I'm utilizing my videos in a small way to promote merchandise which is for sale, nothing which I ever put online that I have control of will ever be beyond a paywall. I love making these videos and I want them to be seen by as big an audience as possible. And I hope it brightens people's days. I can see that it does for some people from the comments that get posted after my videos. If people want to buy the stuff I'm selling, then that's great. But it's not the only reason that I'm making the videos. If, however, you do fancy helping out voluntarily, I have set up a patronage page where you can donate the price of a cup of coffee. And although it won't get you any special treatment, it will be much appreciated. And you can find the link to that in the description below the video. Other things which help out are the reason why YouTubers tend to ask you to like the video, give it a thumbs up, is because that teaches the algorithm that this video is worth watching. So it tends to then promote it to more people that way. So if you could give videos a thumbs up, that would also be a big help. The comments also do that, but it's not the main reason why I want people to comment. That personal interaction is quite a rewarding element of doing YouTube. And one more big help, of course, is if you have friends or acquaintances, or if you're a member of a walking club or whatever, and you know people that you think might be interested in this sort of thing, hit the share button and let them know about it, and maybe they'll start watching as well. Now that I'm approaching the 1,000 subscriber point, I'll give you a heads up that when I get there, there will be prizes. There'll be a prize giveaway with merchandise from my website, and YouTube has a system for doing a prize and picking out a winner or several winners from the subscribers that I've accrued over the last year. And hopefully I'll get to that point by the end of this year, if not before. So what's coming up in the near future? Well, of course, there'll be more videos similar to the ones that are already up on the channel, doing hikes, summit camps, freshwater snorkeling, kayaking, pack rafting. I'm hoping even before the end of the year to do one video at least underground. The one criterion for my videos is that they take place out in the wild, preferably in more unusual places, away from the honeypot sites. I'd love to be able to publish videos more often, and I know a lot of YouTubers manage to stick to a schedule of putting up a video every week, but with all the various things that I got going on in life, including being the parent of a relatively young child and not being the main breadwinner, I have settled on a period of about 12 days on average, so between 10 and 15 days, as something that I can manage. And that is likely to continue for some time to come. What's likely to come up fairly soon is that I'll be up in the high mountains when the snow starts to fall. I have already taken my winter boots and my crampons out, and I'm making sure that I'm ready for the winter season, including camping in sub-zero temperatures, which is an adventure. Don't really like the bit where I'm in the tent, but it is an adventure and it's a necessary part if I want to be in certain places to get the best light for photographs. So that's a little bit more background on me and what I'm doing here on YouTube. Might be of interest to some of you, might not. Might be of interest to people who are thinking about setting up their own channel, although there's plenty of people that are much further down the road to success that you can look up on the platform than me. So I am I'm on my way back to the car. Hasn't been a big adventure this time, and the weather has been a bit of a dud. It was supposed to be, according to the meteorological office's prophecy, a lot more sunny this morning. So before the rain comes, I'm gonna head home. I wish you all a lovely couple of weeks, and after that period, I'll be back with something more like the other videos that you're used to. Until then, enjoy the outdoors if you get out. Take it easy. And thanks for watching to the end.